A man and woman were married for many years. Whenever there was an argument, yelling could be heard deep into the night. The old man would shout, "When I die, I will dig my way up and out of the grave and come back and haunt you for the rest of your life." Neighbors feared him. The old man liked the fact that he was feared. Then one evening when he was 98, he died. After the burial, the woman's neighbors, concerned for her safety, asked, "Aren't you afraid that he may indeed be able to dig his way out of the grave and haunt you for the rest of your life?" The wife said, "Let him dig. I had him buried upside down, and I know he won't ask for directions." Some years ago, the Lord came unto Noah, who was now living in the United States, and said, "Once again the earth has become wicked and overpopulated, and I see the end of all flesh before me. Build another ark and save 2 of every living thing, along with a few good humans, thy sons and their wives." He gave Noah the blueprints, saying, "You have 6 months to build the ark before I will start the unending rain for 40 days and 40 nights. 6 months later, the Lord looked down and saw Noah weeping in his yard, but no ark. "Noah!" he roared. "I'm about to start the rain. Where is the ark?" "Forgive me, Lord," begged Noah, "but things have changed. I needed a building permit. I've been arguing with the inspector about the need for a sprinkler system. My neighbors claim that I violated the neighborhood zoning laws by building the ark in my yard and exceeding the height limitations. We had to go to the Development Appeal Board for a decision. Then the Department of Transportation demanded a bond be posted for the future costs of moving power lines and other overhead obstructions to clear the passage for the ark's move to the sea. I told them that the sea would be coming to us, but they would hear nothing of it. Getting the wood was another problem. There's a ban on cutting local trees in order to save the spotted owl. I tried to convince the environmentalists that I needed the wood to save the owls, but no go. When I started gathering the animals, I got sued by an animal rights group. They insisted that I was confining wild animals against their will. They argued the accommodation was too restrictive, and it was cruel and inhumane to put so many animals in a confined space. I am required to apply for 834 different licenses to keep wild beasts on private property. Then the EPA ruled that I couldn't build the ark until they'd conducted an environmental impact study on your proposed flood. Further, the pitch to waterproof the ark has been banned by the EPA as inimical to the environment. I'm still trying to resolve a complaint with the Human Rights Commission on how many minorities I'm supposed to hire for my building crew. Immigration and Naturalization is checking the green card status of most of the people who want to work. The scaffolding to build the superstructure is not OSHA approved and is forbidden to use except for private structures less than 5 cubits. The trades unions say I can't use my sons. They insist I have to hire only union workers with ark building experience. To make matters worse, the IRS seized all my assets, claiming I'm trying to leave the country illegally with endangered species. So forgive me, Lord, but it would take at least 100 years for me to finish this ark." Suddenly the skies cleared, the sun began to shine, and a rainbow stretched across the sky. Noah looked up in wonder and asked, "Does this sign mean you're not going to destroy the world, O Lord?" "No," said the Lord. "The government beat me to it." An Airbus 380 is on its way across the Atlantic. It flies consistently at 500 miles per hour at 30,000 feet, when suddenly a Eurofighter with a tempo Mach 2 appears. The pilot of the fighter jet slows down, flies alongside the Airbus, and greets the pilot of the passenger plane by radio. "Airbus flight, boring flight, isn't it? Take care and have a look here." He rolls his jet on its back, accelerates, breaks through the sound barrier, rises rapidly to a dizzying height, only to swoop down almost to sea level in a breathtaking dive. He loops back next to the Airbus and asks, "Impressive?" The Airbus pilot answers, "Very impressive, but now have a look here." The jet pilot watches the Airbus, but nothing happens. It continues to fly stubbornly straight with the same speed. After 5 minutes, the Airbus pilot radioed, "Well, do you have to say now?" "What did you do?" asked the confused fighter pilot. "I didn't see anything impressive." The other laughs and says, "I got up, stretched my legs, went to the back of the flight to the bathroom, got a cup of coffee and a cinnamon cake, and made plans for a date with a stewardess tonight. Impressive? 3 men, an American, a Japanese, and an Irishman, were sitting naked in a sauna. Suddenly, there was a beeping sound. The American pressed his forearm and the beep stopped. The others looked at him questioningly. "That was my pager," he said. "I have a microchip under the skin of my arm." A few minutes later, a phone rang. The Japanese fellow lifted his palm to his ear. When he finished, he explained, "That was my mobile phone. I have a microchip in my hand." The Irishman felt decidedly low-tech, and not wanting to be outdone, he decided he had to do something just as impressive. He stepped out of the sauna and went to the bathroom. He returned with a piece of toilet paper hanging from his behind. The others raised their eyebrows and stared at him in bewilderment. "It appears that you've got a stuck paper problem there," pointed the amused American. "Well, of course." The Irishman was quick to respond. "I must be getting a fax." It was the first day of school, and a new student named Pedro, the son of a Mexican telecom tycoon, entered the 4th grade. The teacher said, "Let's begin by reviewing some American history. Who said give me liberty or give me death?" She saw a sea of blank faces except for Pedro, who had his hand up. "Patrick Henry, 1775. "Very good. Now who said government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish from the earth?" Again, no response except from Pedro. "Abraham Lincoln, 1863, said Pedro. The teacher snapped at the class. "Class, you should be ashamed. Pedro, who is new to our country, knows more about its history than you do." She heard a loud whisper. "Screw the Mexicans." "Who said that?" she demanded. Pedro put his hand up. "Jim Bowie, 1836. At that point, a student in the back said, "I'm gonna puke." The teacher glared and asked, "All right, now who said that?" Again, Pedro. "George Bush to the Japanese Prime Minister, 1991. Now, furious, another student yelled, "Oh yeah, suck this!" Pedro jumped out of his chair, waving his hand and shouting to the teacher, "Bill Clinton to Monica Lewinsky, 1997. Now, with almost a mob hysteria, someone said, "You little shit, if you say anything else, I'll kill you." Pedro frantically yelled at the top of his voice, "Gary Condit to Chandra Levy, 2001. The teacher fainted, and as the class gathered around her on the floor, someone said, "Oh crap, we're in big trouble now." Pedro whispered, "Saddam Hussein, 2003. Far away in the tropical waters of the Caribbean, 2 prawns were swimming around in the sea, one called Justin and the other called Christian. The prawns were constantly being harassed and threatened by sharks that inhabited the area. Finally, one day, Justin said to Christian, "I'm fed up with being a prawn. I wish I were a shark, then I wouldn't have any worries about being eaten." Then a large, mysterious cod appeared and said, "Your wish is granted." And, lo and behold, Justin turned into a shark. Horrified, Christian immediately swam away, afraid of being eaten by his old seamate. Time passed, as it invariably does, and Justin found life as a shark boring and lonely. All his old mates simply swam away whenever he came close to them. Justin didn't realize that his new menacing appearance was the cause of his sad plight. While swimming alone one day, he saw the mysterious cod again, and he thought perhaps the mysterious fish could change him back into a prawn. He approached the cod and begged to be changed back, and lo and behold, he found himself turned back into a prawn. With tears of joy in his tiny little eyes, Justin swam back to his friends and bought them all a cocktail. Looking around the gathering at the reef, he realized he couldn't see his old pal. "Where's Christian?" he asked. "He's at home, still distraught that his best friend changed sides to the enemy and became a shark," came the reply. Eager to put things right again and end the mutual pain and torture, he set off to Christian's abode. As he opened the coral gate, memories came flooding back. He banged on the door and shouted, "It's me, Justin, your old friend, come out and see me again." Christian replied, "No way, man, you'll eat me. You're now a shark, the enemy, and I'll not be tricked into being your dinner." Justin cried back, "No, I'm not. That was the old me. I've changed. I found cod. I'm a prawn again, Christian." There once were twin boys, age 6, that had developed extreme personalities. One was a pessimist, and the other a total optimist. Concerned, their parents took them to a psychiatrist. First, the psychiatrist treated the pessimist. Trying to brighten his outlook, the psychiatrist took him to a room filled with toys. But instead of yelping with delight, the little boy burst into tears. "What's the matter?" the psychiatrist asked. "Don't you want to play with any of the toys?" "Yes," the little boy bawled, "but if I did, I'd only break them." Next, the psychiatrist treated the optimist. Trying to dampen his outlook, the psychiatrist took him to a room piled to the ceiling with horse manure. But instead of wrinkling his nose in disgust, the optimist climbed to the top of the pile and began gleefully digging out scoop after scoop with his bare hands. "What are you doing?" the baffled psychiatrist asked. The little boy replied, "With all this manure, there must be a pony in here somewhere."